Recorded Books presents an unabridged recording of Booker T. Washington by Alan Schroeder, narrated by Godfrey Simmons.
Chapter 1. Atlanta, 1895. On the morning of September 18, 1895, Booker T. Washington arose early in an Atlanta, Georgia boarding house and began to dress. He had slept poorly the night before, and as he buttoned his shirt, his fingers trembled slightly. After he had combed his hair and adjusted his tie, he picked up a handwritten sheet of paper and began to study it quietly. The paper contained the speech he was scheduled to give that afternoon at the opening of the Cotton States and International Exposition. Washington knew the words by heart. Nevertheless, he read them again, trying in his mind to hear them for the first time. He understood that his speech had to be absolutely right. He could not afford to make a bad impression at the opening ceremony of the exposition. There would be many whites in the audience who would enjoy watching a black man make a fool of himself in front of thousands of people. Washington was determined not to let that happen. After studying his speech, the 39-year-old educator knelt and said a short prayer, as he always did before making any public address. An hour or so later, a committee of distinguished black men arrived at the boarding house to escort Washington and his family to the exposition. Hundreds of gaily decorated carriages and wagons jammed the streets of Atlanta. The heat that morning was intense, and during the long and bumpy ride, Washington must have wondered how much controversy his presence at the opening day ceremony would cause. It was only a few years before that time, he later wrote, that any white man in the audience might have claimed me as his slave. I knew, too, that this was the first time that a member of my race had been asked to speak from the same platform with white Southern men and women on any important national occasion. The dirt road became so crowded with horses and pedestrians that it took 3 hours for Washington's carriage to arrive at the exposition. When we reached the grounds, he remembered, the heat, together with my nervous anxiety, made me feel as if I were about ready to collapse, and to feel that my address was not going to be a success. With his wife and children in tow, Washington squeezed his way through the crowd until he reached the main building where the opening remarks were to be delivered. The auditorium, he discovered, was packed from top to bottom.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?